There are places in the world where time seems to pause, where the stones themselves whisper the memories of empires long gone. Among these relics of human ambition, one monument rises above the rest, a colossal structure born from power, vision, and genius. It is more than a building. It is a message carved in stone, a reminder of what humanity can achieve when imagination meets determination. This is the story of the Colosseum, Rome's eternal heartbeat, a masterpiece of engineering and endurance that has defied time for nearly 2,000 years. In the heart of Rome stands a monument that has transcended every era, a structure so magnificent that it continues to inspire all long after the civilization that built it vanished. The Colosseum, rising proudly from the eternal city, is not merely an ancient ruin. It is a living testament to the strength, innovation, and willpower of Roman engineering. For almost 2 millennia, it has endured wars, earthquakes, and the slow erosion of time, yet still commands reverence from all who lay eyes upon it. Its grandeur is undeniable, but its true wonder lies in the genius behind its creation, the methods, materials, and vision that made the impossible real. The Colosseum has long captivated historians, architects, and engineers alike. Constructed in the 1st century AD, it served as Rome's grand arena, hosting gladiatorial combats, dramatic performances, and even naval battles reenacted on flooded floors. But the question that echoes through history remains the same. How did the Romans, without cranes, electricity, or modern tools, build a monument that still stands after nearly 2,000 years? The answer lies in the extraordinary ingenuity of their engineers, and in the secrets buried beneath its massive stone walls. Construction began in 72 AD, on the site of an artificial lake that once belonged to Emperor Nero's Golden House. Transforming this site into a foundation for the largest amphitheater in the world required draining the lake through a complex web of underground channels, an achievement of stunning precision for its time. But once the ground was cleared, a greater challenge awaited: how to erect a structure weighing hundreds of thousands of tons on unstable, marshy soil. Roman engineers confronted this problem with a level of sophistication that still impresses modern experts. They knew that ordinary foundations could never bear such weight. So, they designed something revolutionary. A massive trench, about 13 meters deep and more than 240 meters wide, was excavated, forming the base for what would become a man-made geological marvel. Thousands of oak piles were driven deep into the soft soil, creating a dense wooden framework that stabilized the ground and distributed pressure evenly. Once reinforced, the trench was filled with a special kind of concrete, the secret weapon of Roman construction. This wasn't the brittle cement we use today. It was a volcanic blend of lime, water, and pozzolana, an ash found near Naples that reacted chemically to form minerals of remarkable strength. Layer by layer, the Romans poured and compacted this mixture until it formed a single, solid slab, in places up to 12 meters thick. It was not simply a foundation, but a new layer of earth itself, engineered to resist weight, vibration, and time. This base absorbed the shocks of earthquakes and prevented the structure from sinking into the ground. It was in every sense an act of foresight centuries ahead of its time. Modern engineers studying it today describe it as one of the earliest examples of adaptive foundation engineering. The Romans had built not just on the earth, but with it. One of the Colosseum's greatest secrets lies in its use of Roman concrete, opus cementitium, a material whose strength has only increased with age. Unlike modern concrete, which decays and cracks over time, Roman concrete continues to strengthen through natural chemical reactions. Its volcanic ash content allows it to resist water, salt, and decay, explaining why Roman structures from aqueducts to harbors remain intact across Europe and the Mediterranean. The brilliance of Roman concrete was not only in its ingredients, but also in its preparation. Builders employed a process known as hot mixing, combining quicklime directly with the mixture before adding water. This reaction generated immense heat, creating tiny mineral formations throughout the concrete. For centuries, those bright white inclusions were mistaken for imperfections, but recent studies have revealed that they were the secret to the material's self-healing power. When cracks appeared over time, water would seep in and react with the lime, forming a calcium-rich solution that solidified and sealed the gaps. The result was astonishing, a material that could heal itself. Roman concrete wasn't just durable, it was alive, capable of regeneration through contact with nature. It was this living quality that allowed Roman structures to withstand centuries of storms, erosion, and seismic shifts. To the Romans, construction was not merely a craft, but a philosophy. They built for eternity, not for convenience. Their architecture reflected patience, confidence, and reverence for time itself. Where modern builders see maintenance and decay, the Romans saw transformation and endurance. Even seawater, corrosive to modern cement, became an ally to Roman concrete, strengthening it through mineral growth. In their hands, decay became durability. The Colosseum's design reflected both power and grace. Its arches and vaults demonstrated perfect equilibrium, distributing weight efficiently while creating elegant symmetry. The exterior featured 3 stacked levels of arches, each supporting the one above it, combining beauty and functionality in perfect balance. These arches were not merely decorative. They were the backbone of the structure. Their design allowed tens of thousands of spectators to enter and exit smoothly. Each tier had specific entrances and exits, ensuring crowd movement was controlled and efficient. The amphitheater could hold over 50,000 people and could be completely evacuated in less than 20 minutes, an architectural feat still admired by modern stadium designers. Beneath the arena floor lay an intricate system of tunnels, cages, and pulleys that brought wild animals and gladiators to the surface with dramatic precision. It was a world of machinery hidden beneath marble, proof that the Romans understood not only construction, but also spectacle. The Colosseum was more than entertainment. It was Rome itself, an expression of the empire's might, order, and mastery over nature. And even as the centuries passed, even as earthquakes shook its foundations and wars scarred its walls, the monument refused to yield. Today, it stands as a reminder of a civilization that built not for profit, but for posterity. The Colosseum endures because it was born from a vision greater than survival. It was born from the Roman belief that human creation could outlast its creators. And in many ways, it has. For while empires fall and cities fade, the Colosseum remains unbroken, unyielding, and eternal, a silent witness to humanity's most enduring ambition, to build something that time itself cannot destroy. At the very core of every Roman arch lay its secret of strength, the keystone. This wedge-shaped stone, placed precisely at the top of the arch, was the silent anchor of the entire structure. It locked all other stones into position, channeling their combined pressure outward along the curve and down into the supporting pillars. Remove it, and everything would crumble. Yet with it, the Romans achieved something extraordinary. They discovered a principle that allowed them to scale their ambitions skyward, to construct bridges spanning rivers, aqueducts carrying life-giving water across valleys, and amphitheaters so vast that they seemed to defy gravity itself. The keystone was more than a piece of architecture. It was a metaphor for the empire's philosophy, balance, precision, and the harmony between art and science. Beneath the grand seating of the Colosseum, far from the roar of the crowd, lay a hidden labyrinth, a network of passageways, staircases, and chambers forming the unseen skeleton of Rome's greatest monument. These inner arches, made from the remarkable Roman concrete, known as opus cementitium, carried the unimaginable weight of the structure above. They served not just as supports, but as veins, allowing the flow of people, animals, and supplies throughout the building. Together, they acted like the ribs of a colossal creature, each one essential, each one sharing the load. It was a design that gave the Colosseum its strength and its soul. Light, flexible, and enduring. This mastery of structure allowed the Romans to build higher and wider than any civilization before them. Multi-level buildings rose from the ground, airy yet solid, centuries before steel and modern frameworks existed. The Romans understood something profound, that true stability is born not from bulk, but from balance. Even the hidden components of their architecture were built with elegance, precision, and intent. The Colosseum's strength came not from its visible beauty, but from the unseen logic beneath it. In essence, the Colosseum was far more than a theater of blood and spectacle. It was a statement about what Rome believed in, that beauty and durability must coexist, that time should be a partner, not an enemy, and that true craftsmanship is measured not in years, but in centuries. The Romans built with patience, faith, and mathematical genius. They built to last, and perhaps within that lies a message for every generation that followed. If we built our lives, our ideas, and our creations on solid foundations, with endurance and vision, maybe what we create today could echo across millennia, just as theirs has. Among Rome's many contributions to humanity, few were as transformative as the arch itself. It was not merely a technique, it was a revolution. With the arch, space could be conquered, expanded, and shaped in ways no civilization had imagined before. It allowed the Romans to lift heavy stone into lightness, to open the world's first vast interiors, and to build monumental arenas capable of holding entire cities of people. The arch symbolized the empire's spirit, ambitious, rational, and eternal. Each curve of stone reflected not only Roman power, but Roman thought, the idea that human intellect could reshape the physical world itself. Even today, modern engineers rely on the same principles first mastered by Roman builders. Where the ancients used stone and primitive concrete, we now use steel and reinforced cement. But the genius of the Romans was never just in material. It was in design. They created structures that were efficient, harmonious, and self-sustaining. They discovered that true strength comes from geometry, from proportion, and from understanding how forces move. In a sense, they practiced architectural minimalism 2,000 years before the term existed, achieving extraordinary strength with elegant simplicity. The Colosseum endures as proof of that truth, that perfection lies not in excess, but in balance. Inside the Colosseum, that same brilliance unfolded in the way it handled people. Designed to host between 50 and 80,000 spectators, the amphitheater had to manage movement on a massive scale. And it did so flawlessly. The Romans called their system of entrances and exits vomitoria, from the Latin to spew forth. These were not crude corridors, but carefully calculated routes that allowed the crowd to flow in and out within minutes, an efficiency rivaling modern stadiums. 80 arched gates at ground level, each numbered and marked, guided visitors to their seats. Corridors and staircases linked the different levels, keeping the movement of social classes separate while maintaining order and comfort. Every seat inside mirrored the social order of Rome itself. The emperor, senators, and vestal virgins occupied the podium, the most prestigious section closest to the arena. Above them sat the equites, Rome's wealthy elite. The plebeians filled the middle tiers, while at the very top, in wooden benches exposed to the sun, sat women, slaves, and the poor. This hierarchy wasn't accidental. It was a reflection of Rome's structure as a society. But beyond symbolism, it was functional. The layout allowed for clear crowd control, with no intersections of opposing traffic. The design of the vomitoria funneled thousands through narrow tunnels that suddenly opened into the brilliant light of the arena, a deliberate psychological transition from darkness to spectacle. Even safety and emergencies were planned centuries ahead of their time. Studies by modern engineers suggest that the Colosseum could be completely evacuated in under 15 minutes, an astonishing achievement that demonstrates Roman foresight and attention to human behavior. Beneath the arena floor, another world existed, a realm of shadows and anticipation. Gladiators prepared for battle, wild beasts waited in cages, and wooden elevators creaked upward through trapdoors to release sudden, breathtaking surprises. This underground network, known as the hypogeum, was powered entirely by human muscle through pulleys, wheels, and counterweights, a hidden masterpiece of mechanics and choreography. Every part of the Colosseum was built with a purpose, and even the materials themselves told a story of innovation. The outer walls were made from travertine limestone, brought from quarries in Tivoli, 30 kilometers away. This stone, gleaming pale gold in the sunlight, was strong, weather-resistant, and relatively light for its size. The blocks were precisely cut and joined without mortar, held together by iron clamps sealed with lead to allow slight movement during earthquakes, a subtle but effective safeguard. The use of travertine gave the Colosseum its iconic glow, a symbol of permanence in a changing world. Inside, the builders used lighter materials such as volcanic tuff, brick, and concrete to reduce overall weight. The Roman concrete, made of lime, volcanic ash, and crushed stone, was a breakthrough in material science. It hardened even underwater and continued to strengthen with time, unlike modern concrete, which slowly weakens. Volcanic pumice from Mount Vesuvius gave it incredible durability and resistance to erosion, helping the Colosseum survive earthquakes, floods, and centuries of neglect. The amphitheater was once richly decorated. Marble covered the seats and corridors, while statues of gods and heroes stood proudly between the arches. Bronze railings gleamed in the light, and the entire structure reflected the splendor of imperial Rome. Over the centuries, this ornamentation was stripped away, bronze melted down, marble reused in other great works, including St. Peter's Basilica. But even stripped bare, the Colosseum's essence remained intact. Its strength was never in decoration, but in design. The building of such a monument demanded staggering effort and coordination. Thousands of laborers, slaves, soldiers, artisans, and engineers worked in unison. Stones weighing tons were transported from quarries, lifted by cranes, and positioned with mathematical precision. Roads were built specifically for the project, linking the quarries to the heart of the city. Every step was part of a grand plan. Incredibly, the entire structure rose from its foundations in less than a decade, an accomplishment that still astonishes modern architects. The Colosseum was not merely a place of spectacle. It was a reflection of Rome's identity, a civilization that sought to impose order on chaos, to turn raw nature into art, and to project its ideals of power and endurance in stone. Every arch, every stairway, every hidden corridor echoed the Roman belief that intelligence, discipline, and courage could bend the world to human will. And yet, the deeper question remains: how did they achieve such precision and scale under the burning Italian sun, without machinery, electricity, or even the tools we take for granted today? That question opens the next chapter in the story of the Colosseum, a story of ingenuity, labor, and the will of a people determined to leave behind something eternal. In the grand narrative of human history, the Colosseum stands as both monument and metaphor. It represents the triumph of mind over matter, of design over decay. It reminds us that when humanity builds with purpose, guided by patience and vision, even stone can become immortal. The construction of the Colosseum was a feat of relentless determination and precision. The work never truly stopped. Day after day, night after night, the sound of chisels, hammers, and pulleys echoed across the Roman skyline. Thousands of laborers moved in an unbroken rhythm, divided into shifts that kept the site alive around the clock. Each worker belonged to a carefully organized hierarchy, a human machine built for progress. Skilled masons carved stone blocks to exact measurements. Carpenters assembled complex wooden scaffolds. Blacksmiths forged tools and fastenings, and unskilled laborers hauled materials under the supervision of foremen who enforced the pace. Every movement had purpose, Every task was part of an immense orchestration that allowed the project to advance with astonishing efficiency. The sheer magnitude of the endeavor was beyond anything the ancient world had ever seen. Historians estimate that roughly 400,000 cubic meters of stone, concrete, and earth were used in total. Over 100,000 cubic meters of fine limestone and 300,000 cubic meters of travertine were brought from Tivoli, about 20 kilometers away. The Romans, ever pragmatic, did not rely solely on manpower for transport. They created an entire infrastructure for it. A road was built directly from the quarries to the Aniene River, where ox-drawn carts carried the massive stones to barges waiting on the water. From there, the cargo floated gracefully down the Tiber River to the building site. By using waterways instead of rugged roads, the Romans dramatically increased both speed and efficiency, transforming logistics into a science centuries before the term existed. At the heart of the Colosseum's design was one of Rome's greatest inventions, opus cementitium, Roman concrete. This mixture of volcanic ash, lime, and water created a chemical bond so powerful that it allowed the material to heal itself when cracks formed. The result was a structure that did not just resist decay, it seemed to strengthen with time. This innovation freed Roman architects from the limitations of pure stone, enabling them to construct vast, weight-bearing arches and domed vaults that distributed pressure evenly across the entire building. Without this material, the Colosseum's majestic form, its soaring arcades and interlocking corridors, could never have existed. The construction site itself was a masterpiece of organization. Wooden cranes powered by tread wheels hoisted multi-ton blocks into the air, while teams of men and animals operated winches and pulleys to maneuver them into place. Engineers used detailed plans marked on wax tablets to coordinate every level of construction. Lead brackets secured the stones together, and in critical joints, molten lead was poured to absorb vibrations and create a near-seamless bond. The Romans thought not only about aesthetics but longevity. They built for eternity. Beneath the arena floor lay one of the Colosseum's most remarkable secrets, its complex hydraulic system. Hidden from the spectators above, an intricate network of tunnels, pipes, and channels carried and drained water with astonishing precision. Rainwater was collected and directed to the city's great sewer, the Cloaca Maxima, while aqueducts like the Aqua Claudia supplied clean water to the amphitheater's fountains, latrines, and washing facilities. This same system could flood the arena itself, allowing the Romans to stage extravagant naval reenactments called naumachii. The ability to manipulate water flow and pressure to such a degree was unprecedented. It required mathematical understanding, practical engineering, and flawless coordination. In Rome, water symbolized not just life, but civilization itself. To control, it was to control nature. When emperors filled the Colosseum with fountains, mists, and artificial lakes, they were sending a message. Rome's dominion extended over both men and elements. Spectators bathed in cool air while watching gladiators fight beneath cascading water. It was not merely entertainment, it was propaganda in liquid form. Above, another engineering marvel crowned the amphitheater, the Velarium. This massive retractable canopy shaded the audience from the Mediterranean sun. Operated by sailors from the Roman Navy, it required the expertise of those who understood wind, tension, and rope better than anyone else. Dozens of masts rose from the outer walls, supporting thousands of meters of hemp ropes and linen canvas. With coordinated precision, sailors adjusted sections of the canopy to match the movement of the sun, creating a cool, shaded environment for up to 50,000 people. Even now, the exact mechanics of this system remain partly mysterious. Yet the traces left behind, anchor points, sockets, and rope grooves, tell the story of one of antiquity's most sophisticated mechanisms. The Velarium did far more than block sunlight. Its design enhanced airflow, circulating fresh breezes throughout the stands and turning the Colosseum into one of the world's first climate-controlled arenas. Linen was chosen for its balance of strength and lightness. Spruce wood provided durable masts, while hemp ropes bore the weight of a canvas. In its design, one can see Rome's naval heritage transposed into architecture. The Colosseum transformed into a ship of stone, sailing eternally in the heart of the city. To imagine rebuilding the Colosseum today is to confront the difference between ancient endurance and modern convenience. The secret of Roman concrete, with its volcanic ash that rebinds in contact with moisture, has only recently been rediscovered by scientists. Modern concrete, though stronger in the short term, lacks its self-healing properties. Quarrying and transporting natural stone on such a scale would cost billions, and the workforce required to complete it under modern regulations would make it an undertaking spanning decades rather than years. The Romans accomplished it in less than 10, an astonishing reflection of their command of organization and human labor. Through the centuries, earthquakes and fires battered the amphitheater. Stones were stripped away to build churches and palaces, including St. Peter's Basilica itself. Yet the Colosseum endures. Its skeleton of arches and vaults remains a testament to the brilliance of Roman design. The distribution of weight through intersecting corridors and radial walls has kept it standing through nearly 2,000 years of history, a stability so advanced that it still influences architectural design today. The Colosseum is more than an ancient ruin. It is a symbol of human potential. Its legacy reaches beyond spectacle and blood. It embodies a philosophy of engineering rooted in harmony with natural principles, building with local materials, designing for efficiency, and balancing function with beauty. In an age obsessed with speed, the Colosseum reminds us that endurance and elegance are not opposites, but partners. From its self-reinforcing volcanic concrete to the Grand Valerium that once rippled above tens of thousands of cheering Romans, every stone tells the story of a civilization that mastered both art and science. It stands not just as a monument to an empire, but to the human spirit itself, the will to create something that outlives its builders. And as the sun sets behind its weathered arches, the Colosseum continues to whisper through time. True genius does not fade, it endures.